Hey everybody, welcome to Start a List with Carol and Stacy. I'm Stacy,
And I'm Carol.
and we are excited to be here today with you guys.
Hope everybody's doing well, enjoying their summer break or
If you're on
summer,
break.
whatever. Yeah, whatever you're doing in the summer, enjoying the at least somewhat pleasant weather.
Yesterday was beautiful. It was probably our best
Perfect.
day yet.
Yeah, it was breezy, low humidity, the sun, and it wasn't too hot. It was
No, it was
gorgeous.
perfect. I went and laid at the
Mm-hmm.
pool for a little while and until it got to be too
Woohoo!
peoply, and then I made a swift exit back to
Oh,
the house.
okay.
I had a
Unlike
nice little
unlike anything
corner.
I might ever do.
Well, I had a
Yeah.
nice little corner. There wasn't any, I was all the way in the back, away from the kid area. And then people started honing in on my
Mm,
area, and I was like, yeah, it's time to go.
yeah. Yeah. I remember those days.
Yes. I was considered still on
So,
vacation yesterday because we were in Knoxville all weekend for the Perry's military aviation ball. And we had a great time, got to get dressed up. My feet were murdered in the process, of course, and I had to wear real
but you
shoes.
looked cute.
Well, thank you. And so I was just like yesterday, I was like, okay, we're
Yeah.
still on vacation. So I took the day, but back in business today, got things to do, things to accomplish. So back at it.
Yes, and all three of my children are home at the moment with my
Oh,
grandson. So
good.
that's kind of a rarity. Yeah, my daughter that travels, she's in for a little while and
Okay. We haven't
she'll
talked in a bit. I
be,
didn't know she'd made it home.
no. Oh yeah, she's home for a little while, or she's leaving Thursday actually. So, but it's kind of I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of unusual to have them all together. So,
Oh, that's nice.
but they're
And your
gonna.
shirt's cute you got on.
They told me not to. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, go
They
ahead.
told me not to plan anything tonight because they want to. They just said don't plan anything at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, well, do I need to, will I need to be like, go get ready to go somewhere? And they said, no. So I don't know what's in store, but I'm excited
Ooh, well, next
with my three
next time we
babies.
film, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to tell us what happens.
Share what they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's very sweet of them. So
Oh, love
either
that.
that or they're going to just surprise, like pie me in the face or something. It might not be
No,
something.
it'll be
I
something
don't know
nice.
I don't know
Oh,
what it's going to
good.
be. Yeah, it
I love
will.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, y'all, you got lots of cool pictures. And like I said, you looked really pretty and
Thank
had
you.
on cute shoes and a matching purse.
I'm
And
gonna take that whole
yeah, it's
gig on the
fun that y'all
cruise and
got
wear
to
it for formal
share
night so I
that.
get two uses out of it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, and I'm not sure if we're going to be filming next week. I'll be out of town.
yeah,
So,
we might
but I mean,
not.
I can still film.
No, you're gonna go enjoy your
I might,
vacation.
but I could film on the porch or something, but
I mean, if you were
we'll wait and
desperately
see.
bored, I'm sure you'll be very busy having fun. I'm sure our listeners can
Yeah, I
live
don't,
1 week without us.
no, I don't know. Well, let's talk about what we're our this week's topic. We had been chit-chatting and
We literally have
for
started a
some
list. I have
reason,
it written right here.
yeah. Yep, right there she is. I'm holding mine up in front of the
We're
screen.
starting a list. Tell them about it,
We were
Carol.
we were talking on the phone, and I said, "Oh my word!" I said I was flipping through the channels trying to find something, and something popped up that I remember watching when I was a little girl, and I said, "Girl, we have got to talk about all the great TV shows we remember watching in the summer when we were little." And so we started making a list and it got longer and longer. And at this point, we feel like we have a
Yeah.
three-part series.
Well, there's a lot of
So,
different kinds
yeah.
of TV. And Carol had mentioned we talked about sitcoms, and then you brought up game shows. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that'll have to be a whole separate, because game shows really had
Mm,
their moment, you guys, back in the 70s and 80s, game shows were it. But we're going to talk about that another time. So you'll have to tune back in.
Yeah.
But we were, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I've always really liked to watch TV. Now I'm not, now I do, but back when we were kids, you only had three or four channels, so you just caught it when it was on, right? There was no recording of things, and
Literally.
yeah, and you just
Hmm.
you knew what time things came on and all that. You couldn't go back and watch it once it had happened. And I've
Hmm.
always loved just if it's a show I really like, sort of imagining what it would be like to live the life of the characters or, you know, fantasy about that kind of stuff and all that. So I've always loved TV. I still love TV. Now you can binge watch TV, but yeah, we're going to talk
Right.
about some of our
Well,
favorite shows, mainly when we were kids.
right. And I think obviously, it started with Sesame Street and all the favorite moments from Sesame Street growing up when we were really little. But
Hmm.
then later on, I'd say, upper elementary school, middle school, and high school, it seems like we would either get off the bus or I would get picked up from school or basketball practice or whatever it was. And we'd come home, and I think from 3 to 4 o'clock, there would be either
Yeah, I remember
two
that.
30-minute shows or a 1 hour episode. And I think they called it after school matinees or something.
Hmm.
And I always loved Zoom. There was a show called
Remember
Zoom,
that. Yeah.
and it was like a grown up Sesame Street, and it had these little kids, and they would do a dance and a song, and they'd introduce themselves, but then they would do a craft or a cool funny, and they would teach you things.
Hmm.
And I always remember trying something I had seen on Zoom. It was kind of like our first TikTok or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
They
great
would
way to look
teach
at
you
it. Yeah. I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
they would teach you how to, they would say they taught you how to speak in Pig Latin. They would do a whole segment on Pig
Oh, I forgot
Latin,
Pig
and they
Latin had
would
a moment
speak
too,
it.
didn't it?
Uh-huh. And I'd always try to do Pig Latin. I never was able to perfect it, but little cool things from Zoom. What was something you remember watching after
Well, I can
school
remember coming home
or
after school,
whenever?
and we usually, at least a couple days a week when I was little, would, have dance later on in the evening, but I'd have time to catch a couple shows, and there would be reruns because I wasn't watching it when it was first out, but the reruns of the Brady Bunch. I
Right.
mean, I was slightly
Oh my
obsessed
gosh.
with the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
And we were just seeing like
Yes.
reruns of it, but they would have it on in the afternoon. Like you said, there'd be like two 30-minute episodes. And I mean, the Brady Bunch was my jam. I loved it. I don't know why, I
It
just
was,
did.
it was, well, because I think we wanted to have two or three or four sisters or brothers. We wanted to have the cool house they had, even though our house was perfectly fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that,
I think I remember liking the
and they were all
clothes.
about, yeah, the fashion and the food and the events. And I think some of the reasons we were felt so connected to it was some of the things they were do the episodes about were things we were going through as middle schoolers. Like, somebody would get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then they'd break up with them. And then the sister was in the bedroom crying, and everybody gathered around and had a party for her or
I mean,
whatever,
I don't remember
No,
how
I'm
old I
just
was
saying it was,
when I was watching this. I think I was probably in elementary school, but I remember I liked when I was fascinated that they had a housekeeper. I'm like, they have a housekeeper that is there all the time.
yeah,
She's cooking their
yeah,
dinner. Yes, I loved their fake turf
Alice. And
grass.
yeah, but she was also like their family therapist.
Yes,
She was family, but she was the housekeeper. But I can remember some of the funniest episodes were, yeah, they had turf for grass, and
they had
they'd
turf
show
for
the
grass.
backyard, and they'd
Hmm.
be in the backyard. Yep, they'd be shooting basketball or throwing the football. And the one I remember was not Marcia, Jan. She was the pretty
Hmm.
sister, quote unquote. She had this long blonde hair, and she was very cute and very smart. and she was trying out for cheerleading, and the boys were in the backyard throwing the football. Well, one of them clocked her in the face with the
I
football, and
remember
it broke her
that.
nose. And her nose swelled up, and she was having to go try out for cheerleading with this. Of course, they made it look ridiculous, but I just remember that being so like, oh my word, like, oh, Marsha's nose or Jan's nose is,
I
it was
love
so
the boys
horrible.
had the room with the bunk beds. I thought that was cool. And the girls had the super girly
Yeah.
room and then they had the bathroom. I mean, you got to see every detail of their house. The dad had his little office where he did his
Mm-hmm.
work. Anyways,
Wasn't
that
he an
was, I think he
architect?
was an architect, so I guess they had money. But
Yeah.
then I liked it when it got later on in the years, then they'd perform and they'd have those 70s bell bottom outfits on. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, that was one of
Yeah.
my top shows when I was younger. And then we got a lot of reruns back then of stuff that maybe had already
Yes.
played. Maybe it was actually showing and I just don't remember
Um,
it.
I don't know. I loved to watch the Electric Company too. That was
Hmm.
similar to Zoom.
Was it the electric company where they did their
But
arms
that
like
was,
this? Which group did that?
I think so.
They did
What,
some kind
do
of
it again.
song.
You were
They did some kind
glitching.
of song and they would like do their arms like this. And I remember that.
Oh no, that's Zoom.
Okay.
That was Zoom. I did learn how to here.
Yeah, it's like what?
I did learn how to do that one. Yeah, and it made it look like your arms were bending or
Yeah,
something.
I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
they
it
would
was
do
fun.
like an optical. Yeah, that was Electric Company. My favorite part was where they would face each other in a silhouette, like turn to your left right now.
Yes.
Turn to your left and then look at now. Okay, and then now I'm facing you. Okay, so they would do that and they would look
I
at
don't
one
remember
another
that.
and they would go, I would say the beginning of the word and you would finish it and
Oh,
they
yeah,
would
yeah,
say it
yeah.
together. So they'd
I
go,
remember that now.
they'd
Yep.
go, "Uh, at, at together.
You are
Or,
you are deep off
one
in the
would say
PBS
something.
shows.
Well, Channel 8, I
Yeah.
mean, Nashville, WDCN, that
Yep.
was one of our three channels.
Yep. Two, four,
And
five, and
yeah, I
eight was
love
like a
that. Uh-huh.
loved
And
Happy
I remember
Days.
the jingle. Yes, I wanted to date the Fonz, because he was always the
Okay, if
coolest.
y'all are too
Oh,
young to know what
wow.
Happy Days is, it was in the 50s? Did it take place in the 50s?
It was set
60s?
in the 50s,
50s?
but yeah.
And it was this
Hmm.
family and it had the mom, the dad, and there was the brother and the sister. And then they had this guy, Alf,
The
the
Cunninghams.
Cunninghams, Arthur Fonzarelli lived above their garage
Was
in like an
Henry.
apartment.
Yeah, Henry Winkler
He
played his
played the
part.
Fonz. His name was Arthur Fonzarelli. He was like a motorcycle cool dude. They all hung out at that
Yeah.
restaurant. What was the name of the restaurant they hung out at?
Arnold's.
Arnold's. That's right. They all hung out at Arnold's and then that show had a spinoff, Joni Loves Chachi, but it didn't do well.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But
Yeah.
Joni Cunningham was so Fonzie and Richie were the best friends. And Richie Cunningham's family was straight laced
Mm-hmm.
and by the book, and then Fonzie was a little on the edge.
Yeah.
But it worked. It was very funny.
It
And
was very funny.
Joni, the little sister, was in love with Fonzie her whole life, and idolized him. But yeah, Fonz would just walk in a room and all the girls would run to him and he would like snap his finger and or or elbow the jukebox and it would automatically start playing and just like he just had that Midas
Yeah, it was
touch.
a good, wholesome show. And then I feel like around the same
It was
time we had
great.
Laverne and Shirley, and they were two ladies that
Yes,
lived
and they were
in Shamil, Shemazel. Where did they, and they did the beginning. They worked at a
Yeah,
beer bottling
it was
plant,
in
didn't they?
Milwaukee.
Yeah, they worked at a beer
Wasn't
bottling
it
plant.
Milwaukee or
Yeah. And they
yeah.
lived in this sort of like
Schlotsky, not Schlotsky's.
apartment, and then they had their friends Lenny and Squiggy.
Yeah, who were kind of off the chain. But I think Lenny and Squiggy were related to Fonzie. So
Yes, it was like a
the show was
spin-off of
kind of
Happy
connected to
Days.
Happy
Yeah.
Days.
Laverne always had her big
Yeah.
L on her
But they
shirt.
uh-huh. They would just get into shenanigans, and it was just really, it was again wholesome and funny. And it
Hmm.
was it was a 30-minute sitcom. Loved it. And that was similar to Alice. Alice, I think, was a little more serious. She was a waitress,
Hmm.
and literally that's all I know about it. She just was a
I
waitress.
remember
But
that
then,
show. I just don't remember a ton about it.
yeah, I don't
When
either. But
when we got
apparently
a
I
little
just
bit
sat there and watched it.
when we got a little bit older, now I mean I was still like upper elementary, early middle school, the hour-long TV shows became more popular. And
Mm-hmm.
probably I had top two, Love Boat
Yep.
and Dukes of
Yes.
Hazzard, and mainly because I was in love with John Schneider when he was on Dukes of Hazzard.
He was a cutie.
But
Had
Love
that curly
Boat
blonde hair.
was I loved the Love Boat, and every time they'd get on and they'd, you know, they'd sail off, and I remember they'd always talk about the Lido deck, and I'm like, man, the Lido deck must be a lot of fun. They're always going to the Lido deck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They always went to Puerto
I want to
Vallarta.
go.
I feel like they never went anywhere but Puerto Vallarta.
Yes. I always remember there was always the plot was always centered around a guest, like one of
Yes.
the passengers on the boat.
Hmm.
Something would happen, and then the side plot would be the what was going on between the crew.
There were a lot of
And
famous people
I
that
loved
guest
it.
starred on there. Like they always had like famous people as guest stars and stuff. And I don't
Hmm.
remember how long it was on, but that was probably one of my very favorites.
Yeah,
I'd watch it today if
and
it
it
were
it
on.
had a I know, and it had a theme song that was famous.
Yeah, it did. All the shows for you young ones out there in the 80s and before, maybe, all had theme songs that became very popular. And honestly, since Friends, I don't know of a TV show that's had a popular theme song, but we all knew the words to, you know, all of them. The Love
Love
Boat.
boat.
Soon we'll be making another run. Yeah, you knew the.
Yeah, and it was and you would find yourself out in the yard playing, and you'd run around and go, let's play Love Boat.
Oh, yeah.
Like you would pretend play Love Boat. You'd sing the song.
Yeah, you did. I
Oh
love
dear.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
let's go play Love Boat after
Mhm.
this. That sounds fun.
Okay.
And back to
And
Dukes of
another one that
Hazzard,
had a
it was
fame.
crazy. That show was
Oh yeah.
nuts, but I loved it because I was, thought John Schneider was good looking, and then they had the crazy, what was the Boss Hog? He drove that big white
Uh-huh.
car with the orange on the
Hoopty truck.
front. They
And
did
then
trick the General Lee.
yeah, the General
General
Lee
Lee.
was some race car, and it would go do 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 or
And it'd
something,
fly through the air.
and it
Oh,
was
and the
always
doors
jumping.
didn't
Yeah,
open, so they were always jumping in through the window.
uh-huh.
They
And it, it was
slid
it was
in.
always jumping ramps, or jumping a ramp and going off of a roof or something, and then they
Uh-huh.
would just jump out of the window, and
I had
they'd be
posters of
fine. And
John
they're like,
Schneider in
what?
my room.
Hmm. Hmm.
You
And
know.
that's where the term, those of you that don't know, Daisy Dukes came from,
Hmm.
because Daisy Duke was one of the characters, and
She was
she
their
was a hot
sister.
little trick. Yeah, she was a hot little trick, and she ran around with her cheekies hanging out of her shorty
Her short
shorts.
shorts.
So
What
that's where
was
the
the
Daisy
okay?
Dukes.
So there was, the Duke boys, or yeah, the Duke boys, right? Then Daisy. Then they lived with like
Yeah,
their uncle
uh-huh.
or something, the older man with the beard.
I don't
And
remember.
then we had Boss
Do not
Hog,
remember.
and then the goofy police
Uh-huh.
officer. I can't think of his name. He was real dirt dirt.
Mm-mm.
Um,
I don't know.
And we
I
had
just
somebody in
remember,
Mount Juliet back in the day had a car that they'd painted like the General Lee, and if we
oh
saw it, we'd be
yeah,
like, "Ooh, that's so cool."
yeah. There's a Dukes of Hazzard car.
Yeah.
The other the other show that had a famous, besides you were saying about Friends, but was Cheers,
Oh
had
yeah.
a famous song
Yep.
that, and that was about a group of people that always hung out at this one bar called Cheers.
Where everybody knows
And,
your name.
you know,
Where
where everybody
everybody
knows your
knows
name.
your name.
Everybody knows
Do
your
do do
name.
do. And they're always glad you
Mm-hmm.
came. Bear, bear, bear. I could go on and on.
Da, da,
I
da, 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 da.
we
Oh,
went to
never mind.
Cheers when we went to Boston when I was uh getting out of college. They'd all
Yeah, it
say,
was
"Hey
set there,
Norm,"
and
or
it was,
whatever. Norm was always
yeah,
there. The mailman guy, Ted Danson, the
yep,
lady bartender.
yep. Yeah, and then they were in love with each other,
Hmm.
and then they broke up, and I don't know. It was a cute show.
It was
I
a good
enjoyed
show.
it.
These were
But you
shows
felt
that you could
you
watch with the
felt
whole family.
right, but we felt cool because then we'd go back to seventh grade and go, "Did you watch Cheers?" Like we'd really done something. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, she watched Cheers. You
Well,
know.
I mean,
But yeah, we would
okay, this is a sidebar to
we
TV
watched them
shows, but it
all.
just popped into my brain. And y'all don't know about this, you younger people out there, but our fans of our age or ish will remember this. Now, you might, when we got a little bit older, I don't remember, maybe middle school, we got cable came along, right? And so you got more channels. And of
Mhm.
course, it was a big deal to have it because it was probably expensive and all this stuff. Well, we didn't have smart TVs. Okay, you had the
Mm-mm.
box that it came with, and that's how you change the channel, but you would buy or subscribe to your TV guide. Do you remember the TV guide, the little book?
Yes.
My grandparents
I
always had them, and you
I
could,
that I do. It had a list of what was going to be on TV and what time.
and what channel?
It was also in the Nashville, it was also in the Nashville Banner and the
Okay.
Tennessean, the newspapers. You could go to the TV section, and my parents would cut it out, and we'd cut it out, and because I'd be
Yep.
like, when is Brady Bunch coming on? And then you memorize it. It's
Yeah.
3:30 every
Yeah.
afternoon,
But like,
or
if there
whatever.
was a
But
movie
yeah,
of the
TV
week,
Guide was.
that was a big deal. The movie of the
Mm-hmm.
week, or we had something called after school specials, and it
Mm-hmm.
would be a movie geared towards
That's
younger
what I was.
people.
Yes, yes. After school specials would be sometimes like things like the Waltons.
Hmm.
I did love the Waltons and Little House on the
Oh, I
Prairie.
loved
Loved
Little
them
House on the
both.
Prairie. Yeah. Loved Little House on the Prairie.
Loved, loved, loved. But yeah, I would
We would
watch
play Little
those.
House on the Prairie at my grandparents' house because she would have dress up clothes and then
Mm-hmm.
lots of fun. She had a big
Mm-hmm.
backyard and a little building, so we would play Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, I love that. Maybe that's
Um,
where it started all the farm to table ideas, people
Way
started
back
going,
from
let's go back and
they
yeah,
lived
let's
a
go
rough
back in
life.
time.
It was a very dramatic show,
It's
but I
hard.
loved it.
It was.
Um, so around that same time, there was this huge craze. We watched a show called Dallas. I don't even know
Oh
what that show was
yeah,
about. It was
baby.
just about that family, the Ewings,
It
right?
they were the oil tycoons. They
Okay.
owned all the yeah, they were big oil tycoons.
Well, it was a big
And
hit, and they lived on a
they
place called South
it
Fork.
was a yep. And it was a big ranch, and they had ranch hands, and they had housekeepers, and they had
Hmm.
everything. And it was the rich uncle and his wife. Was he married?
I think so.
I can't remember. Anyway, all right. And then the brother and his daughter, and she was sassy and
Was that the
prissy. Her name was
blonde?
Lucy.
Yeah, the
Lu-
blonde.
yes, Lucy Ewing.
Was
Yeah,
that
and so
Bobby's
she
daughter?
was,
Was that Bobby
spoiled and
or
Bobby was the brother.
Okay.
JR was the older
Yeah,
brother. And I think there was an old grandfather
I
because
think
he
so. I
I
can't,
can remember him
gosh, I
saying,
can't remember. I
Daddy's
mean,
not gonna be happy. Yeah.
but one year, y'all, there was a big TV shows back then, and they do it now, but it's like when you stream a season of something now, it might be a year and a half before it comes back. It takes forever to get season two, right? But back then, you would
Yeah.
end your TV season, and a few months later, season two would start back up. And well, one end of the season one year, JR ended up getting shot. And I mean, the biggest thing, it was all over who shot JR? I mean,
I mean, bumper stickers came out, t-shirts
t-shirts.
came out. I think there was a billboard
There were
somewhere.
articles in the magazines about it. I
Newspaper
mean,
art, yeah. The People magazine went crazy. Who shot JR? And I don't even remember who ended up shooting
I
him.
don't
I think it was his brother or something. I don't even
golly, I bet
remember
we
who
could
shot
watch
him.
it if I found it somewhere. It's probably streaming
Well,
somewhere. Lord.
I just remember it being a big deal, and like
Oh, it's huge.
the whole family got involved. It was kind of like it was kind of like the it was bigger news than the national news.
Oh yeah, it was
It became the
ridiculous.
it was the very first, I would say, viral event
Hmm.
ever.
From a TV show, fictional
It
TV show.
it was insane. But anyway, it came on every Friday night. And the reason I know it came on every Friday night is I was young and I was too young to there was some reason why I was staying home on Friday nights, but whatever it was, I think my
Yeah.
brother was going off to the
Yeah, we
football
weren't
game.
old enough to be out running around yet.
No. And
Mm-mm.
so I every Friday night I would want to watch Dallas. And I think I watched it with my mother when
Oh, we would
she
all
got
sit in the living room with our popcorn and watch TV together,
yeah.
and then you had to argue over who's going to get up and change the channel because you
Yeah.
didn't have remote controls.
After Dallas, I liked Fantasy Island, and it was with
The plane, the plane.
Ricardo Montalban, and he had a little servant or a helper or a whatever. I don't know what he was his assistant. That's what
Yes,
it
his
was.
assistant.
And he would they lived on this island, and people would come to the island by prop plane, and the guy would run out to the shore and go, the plane, and he'd
Yep.
run back to tell him they're here, you know. And so we just that was a thing.
That show
And
scared me a little bit sometimes because it was always couples and they flew in on that plane that landed in the water. Remember? I don't know what those are
yeah,
called.
yeah,
And then some weird junk would happen on this island. It would be, I'm sure
yeah.
it wasn't nearly as scary as I'm remembering it in my
Uh-uh.
brain, but it was weird.
Or there would be like a not a not a oh, what is the funny ape that runs around in the
An
woods that nobody can
orangutan?
catch? A Sasquatch.
Oh,
It would be like a
like what?
Sasquatch.
It would just
It
be
would be,
something random.
yeah, it
And
would
I
be
remember it kind of
something,
scared me sometimes. I don't know why.
yeah. But they would be like enjoying a swim, and then like Loch Ness Monster would come up and rear its head, and then they'd all run back to the hut and tell them what happened. And they would say, we have checked with all of our safety people on the island, and there is no problem, you know. But
Mm-mm.
it really was. There were some mysterious things happening.
Well, just for
But
time's sake, we have 8 minutes, so we're okay. But just to give you an update, that
okay.
show has now made me think of one that you and I hadn't talked about that I loved, and that was Gilligan's Island.
Oh, my heart.
I loved Gilligan's Island, y'all. If you didn't get to see Gilligan's Island, man, you missed out.
Please go back. I wanted to be Mary Ann
Of course, who
so
didn't?
badly. But
I want to be Thurston Howell the third or whatever him and his wife.
well, the funny thing is, my brother and I used to argue, and he would call me Mary Ann, and it would make me so mad. Now, my middle name is Ann, but we'd be riding in the car, and he'd say something ugly like, "Shut up, Mary Ann." And I'm like, "Ugh," and I look around and I can't think of anything better to call him. We passed by, we were on the interstate, and I looked over and I saw a hotel, and I said, "You shut up, Howard Johnson's." And I'm like,
Oh wow,
what?
you
Boy,
really got him.
I got him good. So from that point on, I called him Howard. He called me Mary Ann. It was just
That's
our
cute though.
jab.
That show had a theme
I
song
did.
too. It was
The night long ago. Na, 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 na.
all
Na,
I
na,
remember is a
na.
3 hour tour, a 3 hour
3 hour
tour,
tour.
and then there was
And then one
thunder.
night, yeah. And basically, these group of people shipwrecked on an island, and there was a millionaire couple and a movie star and a captain and his shipmate
Who was the country girl?
and a professor. Marianne?
Was that the country girl?
Yeah, with
What
the
was the movie star's
pigtails.
name?
Ginger.
Ginger. Did you name your daughter
Yeah.
after her?
No, no, I
Oh,
did not. But yeah, she was, and what kills my soul to this day, she's on a deserted island the entire time, however many years it was on television. Her hair and makeup looked like she had just come out of the
no, when she shipwrecked,
opposite,
she brought all her stuff with her. And their clothes
apparently.
always looked really nice and
Like
they
she
didn't look
wore,
shipwrecked.
yeah, she wore ball gowns on the island. It was ridiculous. And then
Oh, that's what
Gilligan
made
was
it so
kind of,
funny though.
yeah. But I always wanted of the professor, you know, always had somehow found a radio, I
The
guess just
radio.
lying in the bushes. And he was always tuning it and trying to get Mayday, Mayday. And it was always crackling and staticky. And
Oh, shoot.
but it was the most wonderful
I loved
childhood.
Gilligan's Island,
Yeah.
yes.
And if I'm
Oh.
not mistaken, it was truly filmed on the location was this little area in Hawaii.
Oh,
I
really?
feel like, yeah, that there it where they filmed it,
Interesting.
you can go and just see it, and it's like literally like that's it. It's just this little strip area. Of course, the rest was probably on a set, but I don't know. I just know it was a glorious time to be little, and man, the themes of the movies and shows were wholesome and
I
they're
spent
good.
hours trying to wiggle my nose like the witch on Bewitched.
Oh my
Hours.
gosh,
You know how, I
yes.
mean, it was
Yeah.
all just, she could, yeah, it made that noise and her nose would wiggle.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I
I
also
think
wanted to know what the girls on Facts of Life, they were just,
yes.
none of them had parents.
No, they're in a
They,
boarding school.
they lived in the boarding school with Mrs., what was her name?
I don't know, but she was
Like their house
awesome.
mom or whatever. Oh God,
Uh-huh.
that's gonna drive me nuts. Comment if you remember the lady's name on who their like house mom was, but I remember thinking, man, all these girls are just chilling in this
Yeah.
boarding school. Nobody's paying any attention to them. They're all they have is Mrs. Oh, it's gonna get on my nerves. I'm gonna have to look it up. I love that too.
Well,
But
my if I had to pick an all-time favorite, like I could almost cry thinking about it because I don't know why, but this is probably my all-time favorite, and this is showing my age, is the Andy Griffith Show.
oh, my parents love that show.
The lessons and the way that little Richie Cunningham, and of course it wasn't Richie Cunningham on that
I
show,
think mom
but
and dad have rewatched that somewhere. It must be streaming all the
oh, you can,
episodes somewhere, I'm sure.
yeah, you can watch it right now, but it is just so precious, and the storylines and the lessons that he as a single dad taught that little boy, and it was always and it was hilarious, and the characters were hilarious, but yeah,
I
I
didn't watch
loved
that a
it.
ton. I don't know why, but I didn't.
Well, they are funny.
Well, I hope
Loved
that
it.
our listeners have enjoyed our trip down memory lane for the TV shows because now I'm going to go find something to watch on TV. But I'm
And the
glad you
name,
reminded us that you won't be here next week. I forgot you're going to be living it up at the
yeah,
beach. Having
I
living your
hope.
Yeah, you will. You'll be living your best life, girl.
And listeners, send us your favorite childhood memory of a TV show or an episode or a character or a
Yes,
theme song
please.
that because we love to
You
read our
can leave us
comments.
fan mail at our Buzzsprout website, or you can comment under an episode either on Apple or Spotify, and we will shout you out if you leave us a comment.
And thank you for sharing this time with us. And we appreciate those of you that have been sharing with your friends.
All
I
right, are
will
we
take
ready to
us
wrap it up,
out.
ma'am?
We're wrapping it up. Remember, listeners, don't make a fist.
Start
Start
a
a list.
list. All right, see y'all next time. Bye.